What's going on, everybody? It's Sasha, your licensed real estate market expert here in Charlotte, and it is time for our monthly market report. Now, we have some predictions that have came true, which is good news, and I think we have other predictions that we made in last month's report that are gonna come true in the coming months. Unfortunately, one of those predictions was a new all-time high in regards to average sales price, which we have officially now surpassed. Yes, it is by a very small margin, but what's very interesting about our new all-time high is the fact that it happened in April. The last time we had average sales all-time high was in the month of May, which we're in right now. So when we get to next month's market report, we could surpass the all-time high even higher than we currently are. However, the good news is, as far as inventory goes, we made that other prediction, which we'll get into when it comes to the inventory count, and I think we're going to surpass that as well. In other news, the median price point is creeping up, and that will most likely surpass our all-time highs here in the next month or two. So the good news is we're on the right track as far as what we're thinking is going to happen in the market. We're actually seeing it start to play out in these market reports month by month. Now, before we get into the actual numbers and the actual data, I want to talk to you about a couple different things happening. Obviously, the economic stuff that is happening is affecting the housing market. The good news, however, is our inflation numbers are doing really well, and we're meeting deals and making deals in regards to all this craziness that people have been talking about in regards to the tariffs. With those two things heading in a better direction, we could see the interest rates start to trickle down a little bit more, which in fact would cause a little bit more buyers to come into this market as we are slowly starting to increase inventory. The second thing I want to touch on, I have no idea why, but I've had 2 or 3 people within the last month reach out to me and ask me about foreclosures and things like that happening here in the Charlotte area. And I'm going to put this chart up right here so you can kind of take a look at the activity in regards to foreclosures. As you can see, we're not even at half the point that we were in the year 2005, and we're not even at a fifth of what we were during the great market crash in regards to 2008. So I'm not sure what information people are looking at and or reading out there, or maybe people are mistaking maybe probate sales or trust sales in regards to foreclosure sales, because we do have those types of sales happening here in the Charlotte area. And something like that happens if a house essentially gets inherited by a family member and it says, hey, this is a probate sale, this is a trust sale, this is an estate sale. We are seeing things like that happen, but when it comes to like a full-blown foreclosure or something like that, they are very rare here in the Charlotte area. So be careful of some of the information that you guys are reading out there, because again, for some reason, I've had 2 or 3 people reach out to me in the last month asking if I have access to foreclosure properties and things like that. They might pop up here and there, but for the most part, it's not something that's going to become natural, and we are very, very, very far away from foreclosure numbers that we've seen even in 2005, not to mention the 2008 crash that we had. Now, something else that's very interesting that I think people should be paying attention to is the built to rent single family houses that are happening. In North Carolina alone, there's just under 12,400 new construction single family homes that will be built, and they will not be for sale. They will be for rent only. Now, a lot of this, in my opinion, is due to all the growth that the Charlotte area, that North Carolina has been experiencing, and the fact that our population is supposed to double by the year 2050. So pay attention to what these big multi-billion-dollar companies are doing, and the fact that they're building all of these single-family homes and they won't be for sale, the fact that they're only going to be for rent, should tell you about something in regards to the housing market as far as where we're going to be in the next coming years. Now, out of that 12,400 new construction rentals, Charlotte is going to be getting just under 5,400 of those, which in all is a very big chunk. Essentially, we're getting more than 33% of those new construction built to rent communities here in the area. This is very interesting because other places like Phoenix, like Austin, like Atlanta, they're having it as well. Some of those markets, however, we're seeing decreases in regards to rental price. And I just read a recent article by Zumper saying that Charlotte is essentially increasing the rental prices. However, if you've looked online, you can see things like you're getting 2 months, 3 months rent free in some of these communities. But it's very interesting to see all of the demand for single family rentals as opposed to condos and apartment and townhouse complexes. So this is just something I think you should pay attention to because it's telling us where the Charlotte market is headed. And based off this information, it seems the Charlotte market is stable and will continue to be stable because these big companies don't want to sell these houses. They just want people to rent them. Now, me personally, when it comes to the real estate market here, it does not feel like that same vibrant, crazy market than we had before. It seems like it's a lot slower. Obviously, with that, houses are taking a lot longer to sell. The biggest kind of issue that I see that people are running into in regards to the prices still being relatively high is a lot of the sellers in the Charlotte market have so much equity that if they list their house for $700,000, they really don't care if the house sits for 60, 90, 120 days, even longer before they do a decent price reduction or even a small price reduction. All of these factors that we've been having in regards to the market all point to the prices coming down. They should be coming down. We keep building up inventory, which obviously more buyers have a lot more houses to choose from, and sellers need to compete with each other. On the other hand, you also have houses taking a lot longer to sell, which should force people to do more price reductions. And again, all coming out to the same income, which is downward pressure on the housing prices, which I know is what a lot of people are wanting before they start looking, before they jump into the real estate market. However, that has not happened yet. The Charlotte market is still very strong and very stable, even though houses are sitting for 60 to 90 days and even more before they sell. What I've noticed, a good amount of them are still selling just 10, 15, 20,000 below their original price point, some even higher than that. So as we head into this summer market, as we head into May, we're in May right now, we could see the prices go even higher. But with that being said, don't let your feelings kind of affect what you think about this market. Take a look at the stats. And in regards to that, if you have questions about any neighborhoods, zip codes, the real estate market, or anything like that, you guys always know you can call, text, or email me anytime and talk to me directly. I'd be happy to help you with whatever your real estate needs are here in the Charlotte market. With that being said, let's get into the actual numbers, the data, the statistics, and that way you can make the decision that's best for you and your family. In regards to new listings, we had just over 5,900 new listings in the month of April, and that is a 12.6% increase from last year. And you can see ever since 2023, gradually, month by month, we're seeing year over year changes in regards to a lot of these stats increasing. That's why I tell you, if you're looking for price reductions and things like that, it is a very long and drawn out process. But that's not to say that there aren't really great deals out here in the Charlotte market. In regards to pending sales, we had just over 4,400 home sales pending, and that's a 9.4% increase from this time last year. So essentially the new listings, just like a lot of the other months that we've talked about, new listings are outweighing the pending sales, which is helping us build that inventory, which again should put a little bit more pressure on the prices. However, up until now, that really hasn't happened yet. So there are still a lot of buyers out there buying, but a lot are waiting for the right property because there are more and more options coming to the market month by month. Now moving on to days on market, which came in at 47, and that is a 27% increase from this time last year. This is a big jump, over 25% more days on market this past April than we had in April of 2024. However, as opposed to the previous month that we had 55, you can see we're heading into buying season, spring and summertime, so you could potentially expect this number to go even lower. However, on the other end, when you're comparing year to year, you're most likely going to see increases because things are just taking a lot longer to sell than they were previously. What can help you sell your house faster? The price is going to be the main thing. Obviously, there are things like painting, doing flooring, updates, and things like that. But in regards to selling your house, there's always a price that will get your house sold within the first week, within the first couple of weeks. And then you have pricing that might take you a couple of months because people are still expecting those extremely high prices. And in some cases, I'm sure you've seen it because I've definitely seen it. Some people are just not in reality with what the current market is. It's not the same market where we were getting 20, 30 plus offers in the first weekend, getting 30, 50, $100,000 over asking. However, that still is happening, just much more rarely than we had just a couple of years ago. Now for our last month's prediction in regards to average sales price, it hit a new all-time high of $522,000, and that is a 4.5% increase from this time last year. Granted, it's only roughly about $300 more than our all-time high was previously, but like I mentioned earlier in the video, that all-time high was in the month of May, which we are in right now. So next month, there's a good chance that we see the average sales price a couple $1,000s more than our all-time highs. But all in all, we did surpass our all-time highs. It was just by around $300 or so. Now moving on to the median sales price, which came in just above $399,000, and that is a 2.3% increase from this time last year. And we are only $7,000 away from our all-time highs of $406,000 in regards to median price point. The thing with this one is, this all-time high hit in the month of June, and we're still relatively close. There's a very good chance that we hit and or surpass the median sales price this month in the month of May, and then just like the average sales price, maybe even go to 410, 412, maybe even 415 by the time the month of June comes. Market, according to this data, is still very stable. There's still a lot of demand. However, don't forget, there are deals out there to be had. You just need to know the right places, the right timing, and when to look. Now let's get into the percentage of the original list price received, which came in at 96.8, and that is a 0.9% decrease from this time last year. This is an important stat if you're one of the people that want to find a good deal out here, because this stat is telling you on average you can expect to pay 3.2% below the listed price of a home, and that is not including any negotiations, repairs, concessions that you do when you're under contract. I've had people get 5 to 10+% off of the listed price of a home, not including any negotiations that we do once inspections are done. So there is a glimmer of hope for a lot of people out there that feel defeated in the housing market. Lastly, months of inventory, and one of the other stats that I can almost guarantee we will 100% predict correctly, unless the Federal Reserve does something crazy like put the interest rates in the mid fives, then we can see the prices jump even higher and our inventory go down. Months of inventory came in at 2.8. That is a 40% increase from this time last year. We are in the 2017, 18, and 19 numbers when it comes to months of inventory. This is the same type of market, obviously minus the prices, than we had at that time. Now, what's interesting with this and with a lot of the other stats that we talked about is you're seeing year over year changes. Take a look at the 2 years prior, plus 87.5%, plus 33.3%. Now we're at plus 40%. We are most likely going to hit above 3 months of inventory in the next couple of months, maybe 2 to 3 months. And then as soon as we start hitting the fall, inventory count is going to tend to go down like it always does. Again, with this, we're building the base of inventory. I've said it already a bunch of times. It should put more pressure on the prices. The problem is a lot of people have a good amount of equity in their homes. And once they put a house up for sale, they are not accepting offers that are way below their listed price. But again, as inventory continues to build, as more houses come on the market, as more sellers need to compete with more neighbors because they listed, there's another 2, 3, 4 houses listed in the same market. They need to be competitive if they want to get their home sold. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, any questions, call, text, or email me anytime, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.